Hi, witches. Let's wake up the shop together while I explain where I've been and talk about the solar eclipse. So, first and foremost, I'm so sorry. There was some crazy stuff that was going on with YouTube, and my literal legal team was like, "Hey, maybe just don't interact or post with those long form platforms for a bit." Yeah, it was just a lot, and I can only talk about a little bit of it. Basically, there was a group that was using clips of me to spread, and it was a problem. It was a little scary. So, hopefully, please give me some good vibes, but that should be mitigated, and we're good to go. Okay, sorry, there was a light buzzing out there that was totally bothering me, but I digress. I want to talk a little bit about the solar eclipse that we had at 3 a.m. this morning, which I personally was not awake for. But I did kind of do some celebrations, some new moon work a little bit the night before. And I will probably do some more tonight. So if you are feeling up to it, I always encourage you guys to practice when you feel called. Some people don't like working during the actual eclipse, which, I mean, it was 3 a.m. I was probably not going to see it anyways, just based on where I am geographically. But all the same, I did try to honor it the best I could. So whenever it is eclipse season, I always kind of take this as a moment to pause and look for ways to transform, right? So it's kind of this really neat celestial event that usually happens in the spring and the fall, which are also seasons of change and transition, right? The earth is coming to life or going dormant, depending on where you are in the world. Now, spring eclipses are kind of becoming interesting for me. In 2023, I was like, yay, I'm getting married. In 2024, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting divorced. And it is now 2025 and I'm just kind of here. But I hope that this can be a transformative time for you, or maybe an invitation to think about ways that you would like to change your life, to live a more authentic one, or not that you're being inauthentic by any means, but are there ways that you can be more you? Oh. And what a question that is. Now, with the new moon being in the sign of Aries, this is kind of this really fiery energy, right? And fire creates and it destroys. It's really transformative. We often hear of blades forged in hellfire, or whatever that might be. But we ourselves are forged and are created or transformed through our experiences, right? So I really hope that this can just maybe be a call for you in the way it was for me, to start living in a way that you feel best represents who you are as a person, in a way that isn't hurting yourself or anybody else, right? But in a way that honors who you are in your core, right, in your soul. I encourage you to take some time, maybe this weekend, under this beautiful new moon, or whenever you might be watching this, because I know that kind of puts a time frame on it. But is there a time where you felt the most you, your youest you? I don't know if that makes sense. Or are there traits that, or things that you've always wanted to try that maybe you've been too afraid to? Maybe it's a new skill or a new hobby. Maybe it's learning a new language. But you deserve to give yourself a chance to do it. I myself, amongst other things, as you saw at the beginning of the video, have had a lot going on, and that has made me kind of my instinct was to be afraid in that situation, right? That's kind of scary. Oh my goodness, what is this world coming to? But also that made me want to just be a witch harder. Does that make sense? Where I'm just no, actually, not out of spite or anything. I don't want to come off as yes, I'm going to do this in spite of things. But it just reminded me why it was important to be an individual, right? And not to fall in line or to conform to things that I feel don't fit me or aren't helpful to me, aren't helpful to my path, right? Hence why I'm coming back to long form content after giving myself a little bit of a break to sort through that. That was kind of at the end of February, and I was oh my gosh. So in the pursuit of that, what am I doing to become more me, right? Because I want to walk the walk, I want to talk the talk, I want to practice what I preach, all of that good stuff. This morning and kind of in the last night, I guess, I lit like a candle, just like a simple intention candle. It was red, and I associate like the color red with the sign of Aries, with fire and all of that good stuff, with creativity, with passion. Used red matches today. And this morning I like actually, this is one of the first times I have like put together like a nice outfit in like far too long, right? And I've decided just to really start, not that I wasn't practicing witchcraft every day, but making a point to make every part of my life as magical as I can, right? To infuse my spirituality with everything that I do. That is my path, right? That may not be your path, and that is absolutely okay. I'm not saying that you also have to do this too. In fact, I want you to be the best you are, right? But the solar eclipse and this new moon in Aries, I really feel like it's almost like this spark, this ignition, right? What are you being ignited to do? For me, I mean, this is kind of the path that I walk now, I guess. Like, I feel like I kind of woke up in a haze and was just like, at the helm of a storm. I've just been in a really introspective kind of mood, and this morning I feel like I kind of have snapped out of it. Probably has to do with some of the warmer weather that we're having today. I like barely needed my jacket at all. Which, you know what? I'm gonna use a different deck. I'm gonna use my Sleepy Hollow deck, which has like the Headless Horseman, which is like one of my favorite little characters. I love it, little pumpkin head. Oh, there's an instruction booklet. Oops. I thought maybe, yeah, I'll use a new deck for today, just because I'm feeling some new energy. But yeah, I feel like I've kind of been, I don't know, like sparked back to life, and I want to start living and breathing my practice in a way that I feel like I haven't since like maybe I was doing my Year of the Witch project, where I literally like had to like interact with my practice every day. And that's when I felt like the most myself. Like I felt like I was living in the most alignment with myself. I think also during like COVID and stuff, like when we were all like inside, and I was kind of able to live in a different way. I feel like I'm getting back into that space again, and I'm really, I want to foster that, right? And I want to encourage you guys to foster living in the way that you want. Okay, so this is how I used to read my cards, like when I was like in my bedroom as a teenager, which is just kind of going through, shuffling them and picking them out, which I know is a little silly. That looks like George Washington. This is like a very, like, one of the first times I've used this deck, but it's definitely based off of the Rider-Waite. All right, let's see here. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to read what each of these are. So we're starting with the Page of Wands, which is and this is coming to me reversed, which is all about looking within and identifying kind of that inner passion for yourself. Wands are associated with the element of fire. And when we look within, we can really see that spark, that flame, right? Maybe our candle here. So we have our Page of Wands coming to us reversed. I don't know if you guys can see my table. I can't remember if I have that in the shot. But I'll try to post a picture after this. And this kind of looks like Ichabod Crane, if I'm honest. And he's like caressing this wand in a very silly way. It's very funny. But what is that thing that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel like connected with folks, that makes you want to kind of like just like get up a little bit early so you have a little bit of extra time to do that extra thing. And this is not something that you should feel bad for not have been doing, because it's been cold out, it's been dreary. I've not been very inspired to do much of anything except like rot in bed and doom scroll. But that's over, right? We're not doing that anymore. Now's the time to kind of spark ourselves back to life. Now, moving along, we have the Four of Pentacles, and we have this guy who I think he looks like George Washington. I don't know. I just really think he does. And it's kind of funny, but he's sitting here counting his pentacles. And when I see the Four of Pentacles, it kind of asks me to pause and like take a second to appreciate the resources that I have, and work with those things that I already have in order to move forward. My friend Zoe, who runs a shop up in Lancaster, one of her things is like, use what you have to make the soup, right? So I encourage you not to like maybe expand past your means, like don't expend energy in a way that is like subversive to you being you. Let's say you are getting back into your spirituality like I am, or whatever. Again, you can, I want this to be a path for you. But this means like, use the tools that you have, use the energy that you have. Be clever, right? And you don't need to go to a metaphysical store like mine and like drop your whole paycheck. Like, be sure that you're taking care of yourself, right? Keeping an eye on your resources. And are grounded before you start moving forward. So grounding ourselves in reality a little bit. Our last card here. This is the Five of Cups coming to us reversed, which is kind of my favorite way to see it, because it kind of suggests that, to me at least, that there's like a time of grief that is coming to an end. Like maybe we've poured out all of our cups of emotion, right? And now they've run dry. The way this applies to my life, I really feel like I have poured out my emotion. Like I've kind of come to the end of a cycle with a couple things in my personal life. Like I'm just kind of like, okay, you know what? Like actually I'm done like being upset about this. I'm just going to set some boundaries so this doesn't happen again. And I've had this period of grief. I've kind of had this pouring out of things, and it's almost like I was actually using this metaphor with a client the other day, where like you go into the bathroom, right? Like if you're crying in public, which I am one to do, and you go and you fix your makeup in the bathroom, and you walk out like nothing happened. To me, that's kind of like the energy of the Five of Cups when it's coming to us reverse. That's kind of like, if that helps you, I hope it does. If you're like, girl, what are you talking about? That's also fine. So if that made sense to you, fantastic, amazing, love to hear it. If you're like, yes, one or two of those things, I would take the messages that stick. And if you're kind of like, I don't know about the other stuff, that's also okay. It's a collective reading, so maybe it just wasn't for you, my dear. But all of that to say, I'm really happy to be back. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. I don't know why. Well, I do know why I'm always constantly the center of drama. It's because I have Sagittarius, Sagittarius rules my second house or what have you. So, it just be like that sometimes. But I hope everyone had a fabulous solar eclipse, a fabulous new moon. If you're doing anything special, I'm just sending you all of the good vibes, and I will see you guys very, very soon.